Welcome everyone to our end of the year wrap up. We're really excited to be able to host this, especially because of all of you who are here. So my name is Ashley and I'm head of community with Uncovered. So thank you so much for being part of our community, contributing your special talents, your skills, and turning your interest in true crime into advocacy for the more than 200,000 unsolved cases of the murdered and missing. So we just wanted to take a little bit of time. We're closing in of 2021 and getting ready to kick off 2022, and just give you a high level overview of what we've been working on this year to get to where we are, and kind of what we have ready for the future. I also want this to be a show and tell. So for any of you working on projects, on cases, doing your own research, please share, please raise your hand. This should be a celebration from the work that we're doing individually and then all the progress that we're making together. So with that, I am going to hand it off to Jim, who is our CEO, so he can talk a little bit about two very big things that we were able to accomplish this year.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ashley, and thank you everybody for joining. It's so great to see the faces for those sharing the camera, but also the names for those who aren't. Totally good. It's interesting, coming into 2021, we had one person working full time, and that was Ashley Fujawa, who you have seen many times. She was assisted by Mackenzie, our intern, an advisor, Ashley Myers, who's also here, and of course the others that are on the call. But it wasn't until April that Anna, Rachel, and myself all took the plunge to come over full time. And since then, going through the year, we've been able to add two more people who you see, Lexi, who was actually one of our original community members and active participants, and Garrett, our most recent addition, joined 2 weeks ago as our first engineer, our lead engineer. Some of you have seen Dan as well. Dan has a full-time job and still is doing, 15, 20, or sometimes more than that hours a week for us, and incredibly grateful for that. Speaking of community, I want to thank again each of you for joining us today, but also for your incredible support and effort throughout the year on a weekly basis, and sometimes even a daily basis. That engagement and help, and again, support and sharing tweets and things like that has been incredible for us. In addition, you all helped us in July raise $132,000 in our Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign. Simply incredible. We had, I got to remember the numbers off the top of my head, we had over 170 contributors to that campaign, meaning that the average contribution was over $750. Simply incredible, and cannot thank you all enough for that. Ashley?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jim. And also thank you for the people who came after the crowdfund and signed up to be a member. We're so excited that you're here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of our big highlights that we've had. I'm not going to go into too much detail because Rachel and Anna and Lexi and even Jolynn have some more details to share. But what you see now on our site is our version 2, maybe 2.25. So when we first kicked off, we had less than 5 cases, resources we were curating. So what you're seeing now is an evolution, and that is not only with the data that we're pulling, but the input from the community, a wonderful research that everyone is contributing to, and the resources we're able to provide to people. So please keep your feedback coming, share information, not only about cases, but what you want to learn, how you want to learn, because we're building a community for you. We also launched our memberships. So you that are here, welcome so much. We appreciate you. We're now up to 100 members with 175 other people who've raised their hand to join us. So we're growing every day, which is exciting. So please tell your friends what great work you're doing over here and how they can be involved as well. We have 100 cases that are fully visualized, actually more than that, now on our site. With a bigger update that Anna's going to share with you in a bit. We've also launched the Digital Advocacy Center, thanks to Jolynn, and she'll give you an update on that, which has led to us being poised to help with some legislation that is in the works now. So again, I'll let Jolynn give you a high level of that. We also have some wonderful academic partnerships. So we work with universities to do case visualization as well, actually teaching future people in the criminal justice department, forensic science, McKinsey kind of came to us that way, which is wonderful. So we have partnerships with Purdue University, Arizona State, and Cal Poly. So those are some of the things that we work on throughout the year, not only learning, but taking some of that information. You'll see it on our site. We're learning different ways that people consume information as well. Clubhouse Series, we also wrapped that up this year, which was wonderful. So part of the True Crime Talks Clubhouse, which was also a platform that was launched at the same time that we were. So any of you who have participated there, who have heard us speak, who have heard the wonderful people in our community speak, who've also heard our great advocates and family members. We're going to continue that partnership in 2022. So be on the lookout for more events you can get involved with. Our Freedom of Information Summit, being able to participate in that has been wonderful, and really talk about the importance of access to information, democratizing data, and the use of public records in uncovering answers in cold cases. So if you get a chance, the replay is available where you can hear a moderated discussion from Sarah Turney, Maggie Freeling, and Dana Poole from our community as well. And it's a really great and insightful conversation. Also be on the lookout next year. We're going to host another public records boot camp. So I know a lot of you have utilized those resources, watched the replays. It's incredible information. We're going to be hosting another virtual boot camp. So be sure to mark your calendars when we launch that. And we also participated in a social impact generator. So some of you may be asking, what the heck is that? That's an opportunity for us to be able to connect with other organizations who are focused on making a social impact. So organizations from all over the country. So as we're building Uncovered, we're building this platform, we're building this community, we're very mindful of who we represent, who we're building it for, and the impact that we want to make in the community and in the society. So it was great to work alongside people who are also focused not only in social impact, but social justice, criminal justice. So we learned a lot, and we're continuously learning, and we're getting connected with wonderful experts and resources that we're able to share with you in the community. So those are just high level. I just touched a little bit on that, but right now I want to kick it over to Rachel so she can talk a little bit more about some of the data and the science behind the work.
Hi, everyone. So just a couple of things I wanted to highlight. The digital case file training that we had about a month ago, a little less than a month ago now. That was a great time. You'll get lots of the replays out there, but you can watch that, and you'll get lots of information about how to research a case for Uncovered, to visualize that on the website. It tells you what we need to know and a little bit about why we need to know that information. You can see how it takes the digital case file tool, the information that you fill it in, and how that is visually represented on our website. But along the way, you'll also get some of our tips and tricks that we use to research cases, such as the websites that we tend to go to first. Perhaps websites that have the most comprehensive information, and all of those things. As Ashley mentioned, and really Lexi's going to talk a little bit more about it later, but we are looking to bring some new case research the sites or spaces into community. One of those will be sort of like a case research blog, FAQ, Q&A sort of thing. I get a lot of great DMs with questions that I think would be very helpful for everyone to see the question and see what answer I gave back to the questioner. And perhaps you guys can add insight to that as well, and have more information to share than I did. So that'll be coming up next year, but really it's just to be a micro blog with some FAQs, Q&A, so we can work together a little bit better. We are also in the process of developing, or still in the process of developing relationships with all kinds of people. Law enforcement agencies is one. Ashley, Anna, and I went to a sheriff's office in Ohio, and were able to digitize two actually case files. They gave us carte blanche to look through these files, to scan everything that was in them, and then we returned that information to them. But it's not just law enforcement, it's also databases. In the coming year, we're going to be talking to Project Cold Case. I know a lot of you have visited their website for information on unsolved murders, but we're looking to build collaborations or partnerships with all different kinds of people. So if you know of anyone we should connect to or have any suggestions, we would love to hear those. I think that's about it for me. I guess I will kick it over to Jolynn to talk a little bit more about the Advocacy Center.
Thanks, guys. I'm really excited that we got the Advocacy Center together. It's out, it's available. It's a resource close to my heart as well as Dana's and everybody's here, because we know how hard it is to strike out on your own, and you're battling a lot of forces. You don't have a lot of support. You're probably dealing with a justice system and they're not telling you what you want to hear. And you're going through your own grieving process, and you kind of need a resource or a tool, a place to start. And I experienced that when I was working on Kristen's case, that there was a lot to do and there wasn't a place that told me how to start. So I started intuitively and used some of my background in marketing and advocacy, and we built this center around that. So I want to give a plug to Dana Pohl, who isn't here, but she was a big part of conceptualizing it, coming up with a lot of ideas on how we can structure it. And we have continual conversations about what else we can add into the Digital Advocacy Center. So the overall goal, obviously, is to make sure that we're giving resources that are useful, they're continuing to grow it, but that we're being responsive and responsible to the people in the community that are going through this, right? So my goal in the next year is to directly connect with a lot more families to really understand what else they need, because this is a starting point, but it's not everything. But just to talk about what we have in the Digital Advocacy Center, we have resources and links to tools to secure funding for different initiatives, whether it's case research, reinvestigating a case, or recently I just did a GoFundMe and helped one of our members create that because she's got to basically exhume her sister's body in order to get DNA testing. And of course, it's all on her to figure out how to do that and to come up with the money. So this page kind of gives you a starting point for how to do that and links out to different tools. And Dana and I worked on putting together resources for victims' rights, which was really about cultivating different websites that are already out there, but finding a location, putting them in the Digital Advocacy Center so it's a little easier for people to find them. There's a lot of tips and tricks for how to use social media. We put together some really great templates so that if people need to create missing and murdered posters, they can do that with the template we provided, and they don't even really need to have a great deal of design experience. So that's something that's a downloadable, and we anticipate probably having more resources like that in that section so that we can continue to leverage social, and they can leverage social without having to have experience in it, really. So we want to make it as easy as possible. A big thing that I've been working on and that we know is needed is help with putting together petitions, whether that's change.org or other sort of platforms like that. We want to create an opportunity for people to do that for themselves or to link up with members in the community to do that. And that's something that like Dana and I can help with as well. And for those that are really starting to do advocacy for themselves, putting together email campaigns or doing it on social, how do you start developing those advocacy messages? What do they need to contain? What are some things to think about when you're crafting that? So that's the other area of the Digital Advocacy Center. And as we all know, getting more eyes on cases is important, and the media, social media, as well as TV, news outlets are really a big part of that. So we have a media outreach section, which has different resources for who to contact if you want to make a pitch, how to make a pitch. So there's templates for that. And I want to say thanks to Lexi, because she's really started putting that together and she continues to add to it. Different networks, different people that would be interested in putting together online content or a news article. And this became really important with Kristen's case as well as others, that we were able to reach out directly to someone at Dateline NBC, and we got some really good coverage. So for people that need to do that and don't have an idea of where to start, the media outreach section gives them that tool. So for those that haven't been in the Digital Advocacy Center, I encourage you to look at it. We're always looking for resources, ideas, things that we haven't thought about. If you run across something in your day, online or anywhere else, you hear something that could be a good tool for a family member or anybody who's looking to be an advocate, let us know, because we can add this into the center. And we've also started within the Digital Advocacy Center a discussion area, which we're hoping to kind of rev up in the new year, where we can talk about cases. We can put links into things that need to be shared, and we can, as a community, share content and start to build that viral following on cases. So it's sort of a beginning part of what we're hoping to really build out next year, or well, next week, which is next year probably. But it's never too late to have a conversation or insight from people in the community about how we can build this out to be even better than it is. So that's sort of a quick and dirty about the Digital Advocacy Center. It's available, which I think is great, to members coming in. So if you're not a paying member, this is something that's here all the time. And that was a really important part of this, so that we were not sort of withholding information that is really critical to families who need the help and the guidance right now and don't know where to start. The other thing I wanted to announce that I'm really excited about, I did a kind of a dry run with Meryl, who's a part of our community. And I mentioned before that she needed help putting a GoFundMe together. So I actually worked with her and did the whole GoFundMe. We kind of did this through a period of 4 weeks, put together the content and updated the timeline on the case. So that's live now. And that process was fairly easy to do. So what I have talked to people at Uncovered about, and what I'm hoping to launch in the new year, is an opportunity for people who are in the community who need similar help to put together a funding campaign. There's a form that you can fill out that'll go directly to me and work with Dana as well, as we need to if we get a large volume of people, that will talk with you, you'll work with you, we'll do whatever we can, and we will write your petition and we'll make sure that it's search engine friendly, and we'll do all the bells and whistles so that people will share it, and we'll get it up on GoFundMe and help get it set up for you. Obviously the funding part we don't deal with, but we put together the content and get the account set up and then turn it over to you. So we're hoping that eliminates sort of that barrier that a lot of people might feel of getting something like that started. And it allows us to just provide that support and leverage this community to share it and multiply that message. So really excited about that, and hoping that we can do something similar with petitions around change.org. But we're going to just see how it goes and see how many people in the community need that kind of help, and if we need to do anything different. So that's my plug on the Digital Advocacy Center and what we have planned sort of in the immediate future. So I don't know if there's any questions, but I just want to say thank you to the Uncovered community, everyone there, because I kind of jumped on Kristen's case and was like, it got crazy with all the things I needed to do. I needed support, and I found this place that gave that to me, and also gave me an opportunity to really give back in the way that I like to do that, and sharing information and sharing tools. And I wouldn't be able to do what I do on my free time and on weekends, and when I'm feeling like, I'm so tired. This is what keeps me going, because I know that we're making a difference. I know that in Kristen's case, I know that with Meryl and her sister who passed away in 1960. How does somebody who's technology phobic in a way get to use technology to better her case, or to get more eyes on her case, or to fund some of the projects that she's trying to fund to get more answers about who killed her sister. So I wouldn't be able to do any of that without this platform. And I just want to thank everybody for allowing me to be a part of all of this.
Oh, well, thank you, Jolynn, and thank you everyone for being part of this. I remember when Rachel and I first talked with you, you were just so excited about how you could help, and you were looking for ways to do it. So we're so excited that you're here, that we've been able to help you on your journey, but you've contributed so much, and we're really looking forward to working with you again in the future too, especially with the work with the Digital Advocacy Center. But Jolynn is also part of our advocacy team. So Jolynn, Dana, who has just been able to join us, and then Jenny, who's also part of our community, are really helping identify ways that we can be good advocates. So working with our advisor, Angel Turner, who is the sister of Georgia Lee Moses as well, we are working to promote the legislation that's currently out for the Homicide Victims Family Rights Act. So that would be the potential that cases that have gone cold for at least 3 years would get a second look, would get reinvestigation, resources committed to it, that there would be accountability, that there would be national statistics kept on information, and family members would know what's going on. So fingers crossed, it moves forward. I think it has now passed committee. It's on its way to a House vote, to the floor. So hopefully it moves forward. So we're excited to be part of that, to show the impact that this could make, to introduce people to cases that they've not heard about, that don't get traditional coverage in the media, the community, or the justice system. And the impact that this legislation could make could be really game changing. So thank you so much, Jolynn, for your focus there. Dana as well, for your commitment to make sure that we're helping to move that forward in some small way. I also want to kick it over to Dana so she can talk a little bit about a project that she's been working on with a small research team as well. So Dana, do you want to share with us?
Yes, I do. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I don't know. I thought this event was at 7 to 8 this evening. I mean, I had some kind of weird standard time thing going on. Ashley, did you? I don't know if you saw that, but anyway.
That was strange. I'm glad you're here now, though.
Yeah, so here I am. So Benton County Jane Doe, very near and dear to my heart. I love this project. Super excited to have the opportunity to work on this case. This was Ashley and Rachel brought this to me, asked if I would be interested in leading a small team. I said absolutely. And they made contact with Lieutenant Rosenbarger. His name's, we call him Matt, and he is also a coroner who is taking a look at this case. It is a case from October 8th, 1976. A woman was found deceased in a moving box, and they have not been able to identify her over all of these years. And so we have access to what's left of the case file, meaning a lot of the case file went missing, but we do have some documentation. We have been permitted to look at the autopsy photos, and we have been working over the past 5 weeks, once a week, meeting on Zoom for 2 hours or however long it goes, because it gets really in-depth and fun. But and we're really digging into possible missing people to match this doe, and we're presenting those within the group. Everybody's sort of going off and doing their own research and bringing it back, and then we discuss it. There's all sorts of things to discuss, like, you know, somebody saw a helicopter in the area. Could this box that she was contained in been dropped by the helicopter? And then we did all of this research on helicopters at the time and who would have access to helicopters. So it's been super exciting, truly exciting, to work with a group of people, to collaborate, to have people come together. And we had Matt in last week, and he answered all of our questions. He was on for an hour and a half, and he shared some updates in the case with us. So it's just been a really nice inside look, something you don't normally get to do, because sort of, you know, cornering a detective or a lieutenant in, you know, in a room and asking him in-depth questions or her in-depth questions about a case doesn't happen all the time. So this has been a really awesome opportunity for everybody involved. So I can tell you I'd love to do this again someday, and I hope to. Happy to lead doe or missing experiences like this. It's just, I've never had the opportunity to really work with people one-on-one in a team environment on a case, and it's just been awesome to see the collaboration, to see and feel sort of see the true crime interest turn into advocacy and grow into advocacy. So that's what we're doing, and I couldn't be more grateful to be working with all of you, doing all of the things that we're doing to move these cases forward.
Oh, Dana, thank you so much. We're truly excited that you're able to lead that group of researchers, and excited that, you know, you're moving the case along. I mean, access not only to law enforcement, but additional experts and resources in this spot. Hopefully we can identify this woman and give her name back. So kudos to you for leading that and to the team that you've put together. I now want to kick it over to Lexi, who came to us as a community member, which is so exciting. She raised her hand very early. I think you were, what, number 5 or 6 as the people who came to the community. So she's been with us from the very beginning. And as Jim mentioned, we were lucky enough to be able to bring her on to be part of our team and our engagement team specifically. So you see her a lot in the community, not only in our platform, but also social media, interacting with people as well. And just so many great contributions, but she's going to give you a few highlights of some things to expect as we're moving forward. So I'll turn over to Lex.
Yes. So one of the things I'm really excited to take charge on is in the new year, we're going to be doing some group research. So what that means is larger cases, typically more than one victim. So the first one that we're going to be doing is the Austin Yogurt Shop murders. So in December of 1991, 4 young teenagers were murdered, and the case is still unsolved. It came onto my radar as a result of the Homicide Victims Family Rights Act, because in a lot of the news articles, they kept mentioning it, and I was like, all right, well, what is this about? So I kind of dug deeper, and it was one of the inspirations for the lawmakers for creating the bill. So I'm really excited to get that going. So you will be seeing very, very soon some more info on that. Right now, you can check out in the case research section, there is a workspace for group research if you are a community member, and you can apply for the group work there. Additionally, we will be doing some more individual cases to work on, similar to the MMIW, but we've now changed it to MMIP workspace. So you'll be seeing a lot of that in the new year, which is really exciting. And then also, we will be doing a media club. So originally it started off as a book club, but in the time since, it's shape-shifted a little. So we will be doing on January 12th, we will be doing a discussion on the HBO 4-part docuseries, The Black and Missing. So you will see some more info in the water cooler about that later today or this week. But I'm going to pass it to Anna.
So real quick before you get started, Anna, I want to shout out Scott and Jolynn for bringing that to our attention. So I think a lot of you have been following not only the Black and Missing Foundation, but the work that they've been doing with HBO to really highlight these cases. So thank you so much to Scott and Jolynn for making sure that we saw that too, and we're able to bring an event to life next year. So yeah, be on the lookout in the events section. Anna?
Yes, and I think the shift from book club to media club, it's good, right? We're all busy. Reading books doesn't always make sense, but we all will watch the documentary. So cool. Well, I am super excited to walk you through a big update that we just released. So I don't know if you have, in fact, checked out our site recently, but I'm going to walk you through it. So, I mean, some of you are familiar with this project. We've been working on it for quite a while, but we've been, oh, wow, let's redo this. Everybody talk amongst yourselves. There we go. All right. Cool. So if you haven't been to our site in a while, or at least our cold case list, you will see that we have a lot more cases than we used to have. So again, one of our big initiatives this year was to move beyond the manual case creation that we do today and really start automating this process. We know that one of the reasons that we exist is that there is no one place to find this information about missing and murdered people. So many disparate places exist, and it's our goal to bring all of those cases together to be the one-stop shop. If you want to find this information, it is here. And not only do you want to find the information, you want to compare this information. You want to compare cases to each other, which I'll talk a little more about that going forward. But as you can see here, our map is greatly updated. We've had to kind of introduce grouping mechanisms because now we have so many cases. So it's a different interaction now than it was before. Well, once you get down to where you want to be, you can see cases kind of pop up here. So we're really, really excited. This map was a labor of love, and we considered that maybe it's time to leave the map behind and go forward without it. But we feel so strongly that being able to see cases in this really geographically plotted way, it's so valuable. So we're keeping it, we're working with it, and we're optimizing it every day. So that's a really huge thing we're super excited about. But just the ability to see these cases is something too. So right now you can see we have 9,519 cases, which is really high up from the 108 that we started December with. So This is based on a lot of the work that Rachel's been doing on building kind of scrapers to go out and pull this data from other sites, bring it together, and kind of normalize it against itself. So a lot of what you're seeing on the front end, obviously there are a lot more cases, but we have done a lot of work on the back end to build the infrastructure to be able to house this information and to grow this information. So it really has been a huge undertaking, and we are so excited for it. But I want to draw your attention to a little bit of some changes that we've done to the cases. So first of all, one thing we talked about a lot is how do we differentiate cases that have been visualized versus not visualized? So when we say visualized, as you all know, we talk about how we take a case and we really expand it, we go deep. Who are the people? What are the events? What are the sources involved? But we want to be able to differentiate those cases. So let me go ahead and filter down here. So one way we've done that is iconifying the different pieces of a case. So you can see here, cases that are visualized, they have sources, they have timelines, they have narratives, they have actions, what's left to be uncovered, but not all cases are going to have those. And really, that's one way we wanted to differentiate a case that has a lot of information, one that we've really put some time into, and the ones that really need help. So if you were to go to a case that doesn't have a lot of information, what you're going to see is a call to action. And the call to action here is help us build this case. And so right now we have a lot of calls to action, but we're really hoping that we can help people pull this information in. Again, you see a case that you're interested in, like reach out to us and let's build it together. So that's something we're really excited about. Another thing that you might notice, again, if you're a user of our site, is how we've changed this case overview page. So a couple updates were necessary as we were to grow our database and support different types of information. We've made some big changes. So one, you can see we've kind of gone away from the big photo layout that we were using before. One is because most cases don't have that kind of photography. So going forward, we are looking, one of our next things we want to do is really be able to pull in lots of photography, photo galleries. But today we're kind of switching over to this more portrait style to support all the different types of cases out there. Another big change that we've made is adding more information about people, especially on cases of missing people. Let me switch over to one. So we didn't have this physical information before. We didn't have height, weight, what people look like. And that's a huge part of a huge oversight that we are excited to finally correct. So you can see now information about a person. You can see if we have case numbers. Do we have case numbers? Do we have a NECMEC number? Do we have a NAMUS number? Pulling together all of that information. So that's a big update that we've made. You can also see there's some like subtle UI updates. We've tried to make things feel cleaner, more spaced out. But we have actually a lot more to come. So this is just kind of the first big piece. Our big undertaking was really getting that database ready, getting it in order. The next big pieces that we're looking at is we have a lot of cases now, and right now you can zoom and you can filter, but you can't search. And so what we're really looking to do next is add a lot more complex searching and filtering, so that not only can people just find a case by state, but you could actually get down to the attributes of a case to try to look for patterns, to try to look for related things. So we are really excited for that. And again, as always, as I always ask you, if you see something that you want to see that we missed that you think would be awesome, always reach out to me. I always love to get that feedback. So that's it for me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Anna. So I know some of you might have seen it last week when we first made it live, but our team is constantly working through updates that we're seeing. So again, if you see something like, hey, this doesn't look right, let us know so we can get it fixed.
Yeah, send us the bugs too. That was also what we want.
I mean, we will definitely take compliments.
We'll take the compliments too, but send the bugs.
Yeah. So be helpful part of what we're building, and your input makes it a better product. So please contribute in any way that you can. And let us know future things that you want to see too. And we can make sure that we start to incorporate those as we're building and changing and adding new features as well. So that is it from our team to share. Again, I wanted to share this as a show and tell. So thank you so much for Jolynn and Dana for sharing what you've been working on. Is anyone else want to share any cases that they've been working on, research they've been doing, or just something interesting that they're kind of working on right now that they'd like to share as part of the team? Totally fine. Don't want to keep anyone from also their holiday season. So with that, I am going to wrap it up, and I am going to thank all of you for joining us this year in 2021 and all the things that we've accomplished. And I can't wait to see you all on the internet in 2022. So we'll see you in the water cooler and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.